Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna look at some pseudo flexible moves or fake flexible moves. Moves that look very flexible, transitions that look very flexible but aren't really. Today we're gonna work more with threads because it's so easy to play with and you don't have to have killer moves to do them right. Sometimes moves don't look flexible as you sit on the floor, but once you do it in a freeze it looks very flexible. And even this stuff isn't that hard, but then you have to have that level that you can hold the freeze very long or very steady. So that's why today we're gonna keep it slightly more simple. I might do another one on freezes and even power moves where it looks very flexible but it really isn't. But let's get into it guys. I'm just gonna give some examples and explain how I do it, and then hopefully it looks flexible to you. Maybe it doesn't, but these moves usually give the illusion that you have to be very flexible to do them, but in reality it's not. So the first one, I probably did tutorials on a couple of these, but whatever. For this one, all you have to learn is a shoulder freeze, and shoulder freeze is not a hard move. Most people can do a shoulder freeze. If you can't, there are many tutorials out there, or you can watch one of mine. I don't give a fuck, but learn a shoulder freeze, guys. So now to look flexible, what we're gonna do is touch with this top leg the bottom hand. So if you look here, this hand's on the floor, and I'm gonna touch it. Then I'm gonna grab with my hand the other toe. And look, this might look quite flexible if you look at it, right? It really isn't. You know what I'm doing? I'm pulling this leg up and I'm pulling this leg over. See that? Everybody can do that. So if you sit, you lift the leg up, you pull the other hand over. The trick here is to pull this bottom leg on top of the arm a little bit. There, and go back. There, and go back. Now obviously if you just do this move, it's not that impressive, but it's more about how you flow with it and make a set with it. But in itself, this move doesn't require flexibility. Maybe a little bit helps. The more flexible you are, obviously moves like this become more easy. You don't need to be flexible, you just need to have a solid shoulder freeze. So yet again, I'm doing here, I'm transitioning out and making this position. Now from here, let's say I'll keep this concept going. If I grab my knee here and pull this through, yet again it looks flexible. But in reality, you know that I'm just doing this, right? But because I'm grabbing my knee, it looks flexible, more flexible than it is. Obviously when I do this like this, it doesn't look that flexible, but once I'm in a shoulder freeze or a headstand, stuff like that, it looks a lot more flexible, right? Or you can do it in a backspin, stuff like that. So this is sort of more illusion flexibility. It's not really, but obviously the more flexible you are, stuff like this becomes more easy. So another one which looks quite flexible, maybe you need slight flexibility for this one, is what I call double threading. I did do a tutorial on this, but I made so many tutorials I forgot which one. But if you look here, this is called threading. We all know what it is. If you don't, you know, search up yet again one of these many tutorials or one of mine. But threading is just basically, you know, I'm pulling this through a whole needle and thread. Now, when I do it once, it doesn't look flexible or anything special. And now the trick is to put this top leg on top of my arm like this, and here I'm not doing anything flexible, I'm just pulling my hand over my toe. See that? So one, see, that's the move you have to practice a bit. And now I can go actually back. So yet again, my hand goes over the toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See that? Crazy if you think about it. You can pull it 6 times too without letting go. Here I can go on a little move and keep the process going, right? Obviously, because I'm on my butt more than anything, it sort of looks less impressive than you do it in the freeze. Shoulder freeze, yet again, a very easy one to play with this. It's probably better if you can do stuff like head threads and this kind of stuff, but that takes a lot of practice and some flexibility. In these moves, you need more flexibility than when you're on the ground. But if you think about double threading in itself, it looks that you need to be very flexible. Now, to be fair, if you can pull this top leg higher on your arm, it is easier, but you don't really need it. You just need to practice this transition right here, and then you can actually do a double thread. See that? Whoop, 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 whoop. And this stuff's always about not just doing that, but obviously how you flow in and out of it. But as you can see, it doesn't really take flexibility. It's more like, okay, come up with this stuff. Maybe this already exists by someone else. Quite obviously, it must almost be true, but you get the idea. So yet again, we use some threading and it's very simple. So the last one for today, because I don't want to make these videos overly long and boring. This time I'm going to show you guys one I made today, and that's why I came up with this feat. Because yet again, this looks quite flexible, but really isn't at all. So you know, this stupid move right here, if we just do it once from footwork or whatever, I can touch my head like this. So as you can see, there's totally not flexibility. This, everybody can do that, right? Now I just simply roll back on my body and sort of go to half a shoulder feet. Now this kind of from the camera view looks hey, where did this arm go? But if I show you guys the same transition from the back, you know, making this little transition right here and going there, you sort of get this weird freeze. And when I now pull with this hand, you know, it can go into windmills and stuff like that. So obviously what you do after this gives also that illusion. But these positions look flexible, they're not. You don't have to dislocate any joints or whatever. Maybe it doesn't look that flexible, but you get the idea, right? That's crazy. How did you come up with, or it looks flexible, that's all I'm going to say. So in freeze, it's actually kind of the same way, and obviously more impressive. For a lot of this, you know, I have terrible shoulders. For a break, it's bad. You need to have flexible shoulders. But just to give a quick example of, I did already do a tutorial about it. This is what I call, well, it's just a normal sort of head air chair or head side freeze. And when I, you know, put my hand here, I can actually just simply push my elbow towards the floor. And when you look from the camera viewpoint, it looks like, hey, he's pushing his other arm behind him, or like almost dislocating that joint. But no, not really. I just do this, right? Push the elbow a little bit, some flexibility, but not a lot. And that's just an example, because in freezes there are so many that look very flexible, aren't really, but everything with practice gets better, and that's also your flexibility, guys. I encourage you to play with this. You can take these if you want, or you can make your own, which is way better, or both, right? So play with these concepts, and I'll see you next time.